Hello. We welcome you inside the church at Wazeecha in the greater Wisconsin Rapids area for a conversation today with their pastor, Trey Turner. My name is Milt Van Natta, so glad to be with you today to tell you about a very special event that's coming up in our community on Saturday night, October the 20th. Our purpose in conversing today is to tell you about Duct Tape Date Night, not only just what will happen that night, but what will be the consequences and the implications of having that in our community. Trey, thank you for welcoming us to your
Milt,
church.
thank you very much. And for Tom hosting us and allow us to do this.
So let's go back, Trey, and talk about how this came about. Because that, if you don't know that piece, you really don't know why Duct Tape Date Night's going to happen in Wisconsin Rapids at the PAC Center. And we want people to know the why behind it. Tell us your story.
So I guess it was this time last year, we read the newspaper along with everyone else that said that Wisconsin Rapids was the divorce capital of Wisconsin. And, you always want to be known for something, but not necessarily like this or some of the other problems we've got in our community. So I think the numbers were 19% of adults in Wisconsin Rapids had divorce backgrounds, and as opposed to the state itself being at 11%. So it was a significant number, and we thought, I wonder how we could give a gift to our community to focus on strengthening marriages. And that's when, in conversations with a few different people, we learned about a gentleman named Ken Kington, who's in Atlanta, Georgia. And he had an event called Duct Tape Date Night. And so that's how that as an idea got started.
So tell me about talking with other people in the community and bringing a coalition together to make this event possible. Let's talk about that aspect of it next, Trey.
All right. So we knew that if any of our any single church put on an event, then it would probably preclude other churches in participating. We wanted to have as big an impact as we could. Talk to the Cranberry Clergy Association there, of the pastors that get together there at the hospital on the Thursday that we meet together, and said, what can we do together? And got the commitment quickly of those men and women, clergy members in our community, say, well, let's see what it would take to pull this off and to bring it about. And that's how the conversation started. So it came as a recognition of the need and a desire to do something about it as a partnership.
So here we are. We're less than a month out now. Tell me about what remains to be done yet. What are you working on in these final 3 weeks or so?
Excellent. Yeah. So Mid-State Technical College, they have a printing arm that made copies for us of the posters. So we are going to put those around town, taking them to our churches. And so I hope that by exposure, that'll make a big difference. 2, we have online tickets that are going to be made available. We're making those available through the churches, as well as there's an online place to get tickets. And then 3rd, I guess we are talking about small groups and what churches want to host small groups that after the event, how much can you do on strengthening your marriage on one night of comedy, but giving the opportunity for small groups to form within our community, either at the library, public locations, or at one of our churches, but related specifically through our churches. So we want to have as many churches that launch a small group as possible.
Now, we've been talking, Trey, a lot about the involvement, and this is a gift that the churches are giving to its community. But I don't want anybody watching to think that it's an event just for church people.
True.
That
Thank you.
I want to make sure that people who are not affiliated with the church, not necessarily a person of faith, that this is an event that can strengthen your marriage, even if you're not married, something to experience as preparation for that. There's all kinds of audiences that you're trying to reach, and I'd like you to talk about some of those in specific, Trey.
Okay. One, let's just talk about the event itself and the value of it. Ken Kington is one of the most sought after, I guess, requested comedians in Sirius satellite radio. And he has been on Comedy Central, so we're really bringing someone of value to our community. So it's going to be just an event that's going to be solid itself, and there's nothing like being able to laugh at yourself, laugh with others, and to strengthen marriages just in general. I think everybody would be able to relate to. Anybody that's ever grown up with a family, I think, would be able to relate with what's going to happen that particular night, and with other couples that are going to get together in small groups.
Mm-hmm. Now, I had a couple that went online, because if you'll just do a YouTube search on Ken with two N's, Kington, you can see a couple of his routines or a couple of his performances there. And I had a couple who said they checked it out and they thought it was hilarious.
Great.
So we want to encourage people to do that. If, again, you just go to YouTube, Ken Kington, Ken with two N's, you can check him out and you can get a preview of what it will be like. And we want to make sure that everyone understands it's the use of humor, because so often humor can deal with truths that are otherwise uncomfortable to speak about.
Right. And I think any time we're able to focus on marriage and issues around marriage, it's going to bring about some good things in our families.
Okay, so give us the basics, where it's going to be, how much it's going to be. Just talk about, somebody has already said, I think that's something that I'd like to do. Maybe we're going to invite somebody to go along with us. Just give us those facts, Trey.
Okay, so October the 20th, which is a Saturday night, we are going to meet at the PAC, the Performing Arts Center at Lincoln High School, at 7 o'clock. The tickets are going to be, through our churches and online, are going to be $15 a piece for those tickets. We can buy those through our churches. Here are some of those tickets. I brought two of them because if you wanted a premium ticket, and it's stamped on the back, premium, that would allow you to buy a DVD if you've already decided, we want to get a discount on something we want to buy, and we want to sit on one of the first 2 or 3 rows. That's where the premium tickets are going to allow you, just to be right up front where all the action is. So $15 in advance, $20 at the door. So I encourage you to do that early, and then the premium seats are those $30, and that would give the $10 voucher for materials.
Okay, so you mentioned that these tickets were available online. You can order them online. Where's the web address? Where do you go to get them online?
Oh my goodness, I think that if you were to search iTickets, that would be the place where you would do it, and you put Duct Tape Date Night. And then you could find that as a link. Okay. Now, we are paying for some advertisement that should come across Facebook. If people are on Facebook, they can search duct tape, and it would come up with something local as well.
Okay, so there's enough. How many different churches right now do you believe will have tickets that people can get them from?
So far, there are about 8 different churches in our area that have tickets in hand.
Okay.
They're with their pastor or they're with their secretary, one or the other.
Okay.
And then we're expanding, so many of those are going out this week.
Okay, so this night, October the 20th, it's Saturday evening, Duct Tape Date Night. You go there, you laugh, you have a good time. There's some truth that's spoken to your heart at the same time. I know that you don't want to leave it there. You want follow-up. And you mentioned about 8 churches that had tickets. You want to have a number of places where people can follow up on their experience that night. That's the next piece, Trey, that I want you to talk about.
Absolutely. If a person is at Crossview, or a person is at First Baptist here in town, or at another one of our churches, First English Lutheran, or they say, I don't know anybody else in town, but I do know this person over here. I want to be in their group.
Oh, okay.
Then that night, before we get away and they turn out the lights at the pack, we're going to have an opportunity to go and sign up for one of those groups, and maybe get on with signing up for a small group. But it'll be voluntarily giving information about, yes, you have permission to follow up with me, to call me, or here's my email address, and then sign up for that follow-up.
But you hope to have several small groups in the community that are open to anyone who is interested, that they could sign up that night and then connect, so that they can, I know that you've looked at this material, Trey. What kind of things, just give us, we have a few minutes, give us an overview of what kind of things those small groups are going to tackle.
Oh, they are going to tackle everything practical, just with communication, and money, and relationships, and work. It's going to address all the big challenges that normal families face, in humorous ways, because the DVDs are going to have kin highlighted, and then a time for discussion within the group, how this plays out in our lives.
Okay, so I say to you, I've been married for a long time. I had premarital counseling. That sounds like what I did back then, and now I've got all this years of experience. Why would you encourage me still to do it in spite of all of that?
Oh, I think just keeping everything fresh. I'm just like you are. I've been married for a lot of years, and I intend to stay married for a lot more years. So for that reason, just keeping the dialogue fresh, even a good opportunity just to talk about those things, even if no real adjustment needs to be made. Just being able to say again, this is why I married you. I love you. I want to, you're valuable to me.
And not only that, but let's say that you've got a good, strong marriage. This is a great chance to invite someone who you'd like to experience this. Say, come and spend a Saturday evening with us. Maybe you don't even so much in your own life need the small group, but your presence in inviting someone else could mean that they were there or not there.
It still holds today. 85% of the people who are asked by a friend if they would come with them to an event, they will. And so if people have been told in their churches, let's say, have been told you need to invite somebody, then this gives an easy opportunity to say, well, I can invite them to this, either to the night itself with Ken Kington, or to the small group that I plan on being a part of.
Okay, so right now we encourage you to put October 20th on your calendar. Think about someone who you could take with you and make a special night of it. How many seats are available? How many people would we like to see attend this event? I'm trying to remember the number, and perhaps you don't recall yourself, Trey, but do you know how many people the seating capacity is?
I think the pack can hold well into the 500s or more. I don't know exactly how many that is, but if we were to have 300 or 400 people at this event, that would be the biggest of wins, I believe. And what if our community did come together and just celebrate strengthening marriages and caring for each other? I think that would be a big win. To do this as our churches together, to say we value each other, even if we don't do a lot of things together sometimes, to value one another and to value families is something that we can celebrate together.
Perhaps this then can be an event that will allow our churches to do more things together for the benefit of the community.
I do. I agree with that. That's great.
I hope that's one of the outcomes. When we were visiting earlier, do I remember right that the 6-week small group program. You kind of hope to have that wrapped up by holiday time so people are free then for the Christmas season.
Right. If we start our small groups just after the event itself, sign up for, I think we've got 4 weeks that we would be able to do that before Thanksgiving. Craziness begins to happen. The holiday season gets busy. And then we might be able afterwards, if we say this was real value, I want to get together with those crazy people one more time after Christmas, first of the year, we can come back together and do another few sets.
Let's say we sat down 1 year from now, end of September 2019. What would you hope we'd be talking about came out of this in our community?
A night of fun. I hope that the event itself was a big win. I hope to be able to talk about how our churches came together and how good that was. When can we do that again? And I hope that people who maybe did this, signed up to a small group, met some new friends, and got together a few times for dinner. I think those would be some huge wins that we could celebrate as a community.
And I bet we'll hear over the course of 2 to 5 years some anecdotal stories about people that gave marriage a second try and that their marriage was even saved by, because marriages are saved by events like this.
They can be the impetus, at least the starting point.
People sometimes decide, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying. There's still hope here.
That's right.
Don't forget now, October the 20th, a Saturday night at the PAC Center at Lincoln High School, Ken Kington here for Duct Tape Date Night. Not only a great night, but small group opportunities afterwards as the churches of the greater Wisconsin Rapids area come together. We hope that you might be involved in that. We hope that you might invite someone to be involved in that with you. Tickets are now available through local churches and online. And you have our personal invitation to be a part of this community event. For Trey Turner, for our producer, Tom Laux, I'm Milt Van Atta. Thank you for joining us for these few minutes. You're watching Wisconsin Rapids Community Media.